Hi gang, my name is Marion. I'm going to be doing a 24-part series on the Costco wine advent calendar, which we'll jump into shortly. But I want to introduce myself to all of you first. Like I said before, my name is Marion. I have experience in tasting rooms around the area on the East Coast. I've worked in tasting rooms for quite a number of years, and I've managed tasting rooms. I've managed large groups of employees and have taught them how to taste wine, how to perceive wine, and how to sell wine to customers coming into very well-established vineyards and also turnkey wineries. The turnkey wineries, we'd actually go through distributors and get wines from around the world. So we would sit down with distributors, talk about them, try the wines, help pick them out for the winery. And then we would sell them to customers, and we'd tell them the backstories and tell them the flavor profile and what we perceived, and help to push the product out the door. So in no means am I a sommelier. I am not WSET certified or anything like that. I am just a typical low-key wine enthusiast, and I would love to share my thoughts on the Costco wine advent calendar with you. So let's go ahead and jump in. So over here we have the Wine Adventure Wine Advent Calendar. Here's the cute little top that comes in. I've already bumped out one. Sorry, I got a little adventurous right off the top. In the box, I only have the red wines left in there because all of my whites are over here in my wine fridge chilling out. So I'll show you one of the red bottles here. They are a half bottle of wine, so you get 24 of those. So that's going to equal to 12 bottles of wine. So let's jump in on the first one. Okay, so the first wine in the box under number 1 is called Strut King, and it's a Chardonnay from Italy. Now, the Chardonnay wine is the most popular distributed wine around the world, and it's been that way for quite a long time. Chardonnay is best served between 55 and 58 degrees Fahrenheit in a wide mouth glass that is skinnier on top. You can kind of see that I kind of have that here. It's not your typical, but you got to work with what you have, right? Typically, Chardonnay is served with chicken, seafood, soft cheeses, but it also can be a junk food wine. And what I mean by that is you can have it with potato chips, pretzels, popcorn. It's really an easy drinking wine, depending on what kind you get. So you have your stainless steel, and you also have your oak barreled. Your oak barreled are the ones that are really buttery and oaky. Your stainless steel typically tend to be more fruity, tropical fruit, apple, pear, those kind of flavors. And then they also have concrete barreled, or they call it like an egg almost, but it's like a concrete egg that they house the wine in, and those typically tend to have like a minerally tropical fruit flavor. And you have to find a special, like a wine, like a winery special for that. There are some in Virginia, there are some in California, but you really gotta look for that because it's really only going to be at boutique wineries. Okay, so on the back of these bottles, which is really cool, you got a QR code on all of them. And when you scan this, it will take you to a website that will show you the entire wine advent calendar, but it will take you to the specific wine. They have a quick YouTube video, about a minute each, and they'll tell you about the wine from their perspective. But this one, if you read the back, it talks about that it's got a heady nose of orchard fruit and a rich, creamy palate. The unique character of Italian Chardonnay derives from the convergence of traditional and innovation. So I will say right off the bat, as soon as you open this bottle, you really get a lot of tropical fruit coming right out. And I was very surprised. So I've never had an Italian Chardonnay before. And I was really surprised at my first sip because it almost tasted like apple juice or like apple cider. It was kind of shocking for a second. But they really do say it's orchard fruit. Well, typical orchard fruit, apples, oranges, tropical fruits. I got a lot of apple at first. But as you drink wine, every sip you take, it's going to change. And that's all done with like the molecular structure of the wine. The more that it coats the tongue, it's going to be different when it hits all your receptors. So when we go to drink our wine, you really want to smell it first. Take in the aromas. So you can definitely close your mouth and get plenty of sensation that way, and you can smell it and get a lot of that flavor profile that way. I do recommend that you try this and see if you get a difference, but you can also try slightly opening your mouth and smelling like this. And what that does is it brings the flavor profile into your mouth and up the back of your nose. And what happens is you get a lot of that. You can actually taste it on your tongue, which is very, very cool. A lot of people don't know, but 70 to 80% of your taste is based on your nose, based on smelling. So you'll know, like when you get sick with a cold, you can't smell. Or I'm sorry, you can't taste. And a lot of times you can't smell either. So your taste heavily relies on your nose. So give this wine a smell if you have it. And you'll notice it's got like kind of a creamy profile. But you also get a lot of tropical fruits. You also get like a hint of effervescent. Like you're expecting a bubbly, which is really interesting because it's definitely not a bubbly. So give it a smell again. Give it a little swirl, kind of open those flavors up. I know it looks funny to some of you to swirl, but really what you're doing is you're actually smashing open some of the molecules in here. So you're actually doing chemistry. So you're smashing the molecules open, which open more of the flavor profile. That's part of the reason why a lot of people decant their wine too, is because the oxygen is coming into the wine and breaking open the molecules, really opening the flavor. When you swirl, you're really just slamming all those molecules together and you're letting out more of that flavor profile. So give it a smell again. Now you may notice that when you're smelling, you might be like, oh, I can't smell it now. I smelled it too many times. Well, here's a cool trick. And they do this when you're doing perfume as well. A lot of the times if you go to Nordstrom and you go to the perfume section, you'll see those little shot glasses of coffee beans. That's to actually reset your nose palate. So you smell your perfume, smell the coffee beans afterwards, and it resets it so that way you can smell the next one. Well, if you don't have coffee beans readily available, you can just smell your arm right here. You can reset your nose. So then smell again, try it again. It doesn't work as well as coffee beans, but it does help. If you've been smelling a lot of wine through the day, you're doing a large wine tasting, or you're going to numerous places, it really does help you in a pinch. So let's take a sip. So when we're going to take a sip here, I want you to swish it all around your mouth, kind of like mouthwash. So just watch. That's good. So you want to swish it around your mouth so it hits your cheeks, it gets under your tongue. It goes towards the back of your palate. And what you'll notice on your first sip is it's very almost like gusher, release of this savoring feeling. So you get kind of these dry strips here, but you get that mouth-watering sensation right up front. But with that first hit, you're really going to hit the receptors in the back of your throat, and you're going to get that mouth-watering sensation in the back as well. Sorry, guys. My drain's going off. So you're going to get that as well. But you want to keep taking another sip. Now, another thing that you can do is you can keep the wine in your mouth for longer, and it will change. So let's try that next. You almost get like a spicy sensation the longer that you keep it in your mouth. It's really that effervescence that you're picking up, but it's almost like pepper dancing on your taste buds. Another thing to note is that when you take a sip, take a second to really think, how long does it linger on your palate? The longer that this lingers for me, I still get that mouthwater. I still got it. but I've got this strip going down the back of my tongue that I've got that effervescence just, jumping just lightly on the tongue. But you notice that tropical fruit comes all the way back to the throat. You can actually get tropical fruit almost to here. So it's interesting, and it's lasting. And then now that it's kind of coming to the end of the flavor profile there that you can taste, you do get a little hint of vanilla at the very end, almost like a vanilla or a white chocolate, maybe a cocoa of some sort. But I also get a little bit of spice too, like I'm almost picking up some like pepper. But for you, it might be totally different, and I would love it in the comments if you told me how you perceive this wine. I'll tell you, I get a lot of like apples, a little bit of mango, a little bit of orange. But you also get some like almost grassy notes too, almost like lemongrass, or when you're just sitting here really thinking about it, it's like fresh cut grass, or you're out in a field and you can almost taste like how the wind carries everything by, like when you're out in nature, you almost get like that nice green green flavor profile in there, like a sensation almost. It's very interesting. I will say, now trying an Italian Chardonnay, I will definitely include those in my wine shopping list from now on. Once again, this is Strut King. It's a Chardonnay from Italy. I highly recommend. I'm not a typical Chardonnay drinker, so for me, this is very, very fun. If you guys have any other questions on this, let me know. I hope you guys enjoy this wine. Let's take one more sip together. Cheers to all of you. Thank you for joining me for my first episode, and I hope that you're able to watch my remaining 23 episodes. I'll put one out every day, trying a different bottle. So cheers to you guys. Thanks for joining me again, all. Take care.